You guys, I finished the oranges pants, and when I tell you, this pattern nearly broke me. Welcome back. My name is Mary Sarah and you're watching Sing Sew Repeat. On this channel, I share two of my greatest passions, singing and sewing. So let's get into this week's topic, my oranges pants. Sewing up simplicity, 8605, and oh my word, what a journey these pants were. This is only the third woven pants I've ever sewn. I've steered clear of pants in sewing because I know how tough fitting can be. But I was really helpful with these because they are wide leg, and my thoughts were, it's an elastic waistband. How hard can this be? Well, let me just tell you. Now, I do have a lot of footage that I'm going to insert here and there to just show you part of the process. I got pretty far into this, and I think I got the no, I did not get the waistband in because I did try them on. So let me just break this down for you. I started sewing these up, and I tried them on before putting on the waistband just to kind of eyeball and see where we were at. And I'm thinking, I'm not sure if these are fitting properly, but I wasn't sure. Put the waistband on, and I have the crotch. Here's the thing. I don't even know if I fully understand what the issue is. I have done a little research, and I do think that the crotch curve was not long enough, perhaps, because I laid it on another pair of pants that I did, and it was at least a ½ inch longer on that other pair of pants than this pattern was. And it was just so tight in my crotch, really tight around the bust too, but really tight around the butt too, but it wasn't uncomfortable around the butt. But there were these horrible drag lines and a ton of extra fabric. See these little lines here? This is the state of things. So I'm researching how to fix this problem, and I've already let out this inner thigh, which helped a little bit, but it still basically looks like this. I think it was a little bit thicker. So I'm gonna let out, I've let out both of them. So the next thing I'm gonna do is scoop the crotch, I think is what it's officially called. I've never done this, but I've looked at several videos. So I'm gonna try that next to see if that helps, because it is like right up against here, and I wanna wear it up at my waist. Now I like the back. I don't feel like there's any lines there, but I don't think it would hurt either to have just like a little bit more room here. So, all right, that's what I'm gonna try. Here we go. So once I tried them on, I could tell something was up in the crotch. Now I've heard a little bit about scooping out the crotch and things like that. I don't even really know what that means still to this day. But I found J Stern Designs on YouTube, and she was so much help. So I did a little bit of scooping of the crotch, and then after that, I still tried it on. It wasn't enough. And what I then tried was just opening up everything. I also have some footage for that as well. I've done a little work where I took out some of this, which helped with the extra lines. So I have to reattach the waistband right there, but I like that that's taken out the blousiness. So like I said, I decided to just open up the crotch because I saw on her channel, I'll put a picture of it, a screenshot of it. It just kind of helped me understand what might need to be done in these pants. I think there just wasn't enough fabric along the inner leg and along the crotch. And because I don't have anything more except scraps from this fabric, my only option was to do a gusset, and that's what I did. Now, I do have footage of that as well that I did step by step of. All right, this is with it fully open, so evenly down about 4 to 6 inches, maybe 5, 6 inches, somewhere in there. And I think that fits nicely. This is a little bit looser. So I'm going to add that in to where this would basically be the shape with that added gusset. So I still think like there's some of this happening, but I think that's just going to happen anyway with pants in general. Like as you're walking, I think we're only trying to basically fit, I don't know, if I'm wrong, let me know. This is my third pair of woven pants I've ever made. So I don't know. I'm learning as I go. My guess is the walking is this is going to be happening. This will be normally happening. I think if when we're at parade rest, this is how we want it to basically look, right? Because there's going to be walking, there's going to be movement and things like that. Anyway, now I just have to put the gusset in and hem these pants and should be done. Anyway. And now I have opened up the crotch. This is the top of my pants. And I've opened up the crotch and tried them on and have decided, like I said, I'm going to put in a wedge right here, a wedge gusset. Now, from videos that I've seen, I have some scrap fabric and I basically measured from the seam outward to know it's going to be about, I don't know, between 4 or 6 inches, somewhere in there. And I know I want at least 1 inch to then taper out to give me that space here. So what I've done is just draw a straight line about 12 inches long, draw up, this is about 1.5 inches. I want to give some room because in case I need to increase it larger than 1 inch, I can go up to, this math is hurting my brain. So I have some room to play with how much I can put in. And then I've gone up to here and then I've just drawn lines tapering down. So then I'm going to cut that out and put that in here, right sides together, and then just put in a gusset. And then I'm going to try it on and see how it fits. Now, trying it on like this with it fully open, I don't remember. I don't think I took footage of that, so I'll try to remember to do that. It laid really nice. So this looks so weird to me. So that's why I think just adding that extra little bit in, and well, I'll talk about this more later. So I'm going to add that in. All right. That's it. But just so you see here, before, oops, I think a little bit clearer, I did, whoop, I think it blends in pretty well actually. So it's right there. It's like this little wedge right here. And that just helped things flow better. Cause like I said, I opened everything up and tried to walk around and I'm like, I think I need at least this much space. Now it's kind of hard to tell how much space you need when you're doing all this yourself. So I'm just kind of like feeling around there being like, okay, I think there's like this much of a gap here, this much of a gap in right at the center of the crotch. And like I did about 3 inches at the widest part. And I think I sewed it at like a 3/8 inch seam, just to give myself some room to play around if I didn't need that much, but I ended up needing it. And once I put these on, it just felt perfect. The back fits a lot more loosely. The flow is great. I think we did okay. If any of you with your fitting knowledge out there have any comments, for sure let me know. But I'm so pleased with how these came out. And I told you, this was like precious fabric to me. Because when I bought it, I only bought like 1.5 yards of it. And then I made the blouse and I was obsessed. And I knew I wanted to make more out of it. I just didn't know what. And I think these together, which you'll see pictures of it together, are just so perfect. I love the puff of this sleeve tucked into the pants. I love the paper bag waistband too. Here's some modifications. I did not do the channels. So on here, they do call for you to make 2 channels with the elastic. And I think the elastic was, 5/8 of an inch, which I did not have. But I did have 1.5 inch elastic. So that's what I chose to do. I just did 1 casing and I didn't make the 2 rows. For those of you who like a visual, this is what they wanted you to do. Make 2 casings, sew the rows down, and I just didn't. I sewed the top row to get the paper bag waist and sew the bottom row, and you do 2 stitching there. But I just didn't do it. I didn't have it. I was working on it late and just decided to go with just this size waistband. This size elastic, the 1.5 inch, and I love it. Oh my word, it's so dramatic. The set together is just, I love it. So will I make these pants again? I don't know. I do love them, but with all the fit issues, I'd have to figure out how to transfer what I learned onto the pattern pieces. My thought is that what I would have to do is extend the crotch curve in the front. So if I extend it down and out and then ease that back into here, I think that'll solve the problem of the legs not being as full as they needed to be and the curve giving me enough space for it to flow, for it to sit better. So if I do those 2 things, possibly, and you know what, I really should. I should figure out, I think I'm going to figure out what my crotch curve measurement is, put it up against this and try to figure it out, because I don't want to get stuck into another pair of pants where I couldn't work my way out of it. I think this print is very forgiving. I think it's going to be important for me to figure out what my measurements are, because while I'm more of a pear shape, and I think this is part of the issue, is that my butt is fuller, I think, than maybe the average. And especially, when was this made? In 2019? I mean, maybe not. If it was like a 70s pattern, maybe. But I think it's a little bit fuller. So I think I'm going to be best served if I can figure out what my crotch curve is and then measure the pattern pieces. Just do some of that work ahead of time to avoid all of those fit issues and then just the frustration of having to deal with this. I mean, I was days into this project, days and days and days, and it's an easy to sew. And it is, except it just didn't fit my body. So that is my saga with these pants. I'm glad they turned out well. I love them. I think it's such a cute outfit. So very pleased. So what did you think, guys? I'd love to hear your thoughts below. Please comment and tell me if you've made this pattern. What fit issues do you have? Love to chat with you guys in the comments. You're so sweet, and I love the sewing community, and we're just having such a great time. Do all the YouTubey things. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.